Good day. We're going to look at individual training uploads in this training video. So this will be the process that an individual can go through and update and upload any training that they have taken. So initially we'll log in through the portal, just like any other process of logging into the system. And we've went out and purchased a new domain name. If you guys aren't aware of that already, it's WYEMS License, LICENSE.com. So WYEMSLICENSE.com. And that'll bring you over to the portal. So a little bit easier way to get in here. So once you come in, you're going to go to applications. The reason that is the applications, think of it as a bucket. It's the bucket, or in this case, a filing cabinet that maintains all the forms for the system. So any form here is here under the Applications tab. You can come down to Individual Training Upload, hit Apply Now, and this will open the form. Once the form is opened, takes it a second. This will bring us into the specific folder, in this case that the form is in, and then we'll start the form. So it brings us in. First thing you'll see is your demographics verification. So your name, address, email. Remember the city and state are based off of the zip code. So if you change your address, come in, put in your zip code, hit lookup. Your primary phone, it should populate your license number, your license level, and your expiration date. And then it'll also ask you what level you're renewing at. The case here, and the reason this drop-down is available, is say you're in as a intermediate or a AEMT or paramedic, and you want to drop down to basic. You would then come in, change it to basic, or if you're in as a basic, want to drop back to EMR. So you would change it back to where you want to recertify at. So save and continue moves you on to the next page. And this next page will be the bread and butter of what we're looking at. So this will get us into where we enter our training. So as you see, this will be specific for your certification level or your licensure level. And it tells you in each section how many total hours are required. So you'll go down through, you'll see each of your levels, and you'll see what you have entered for that training. The numbers here are only corresponding to what is in this sheet. It's not corresponding to what you have overall. Think of this like a training roster. So you would go into a class, you'd fill out your roster, submit it, it goes in the filing cabinet. Next time you pull out a roster, you're going to get a blank one, so you're going to start at the beginning again with that new roster. Same thing with each of these forms. So let's say we did some preparatory. So we did online licensure training. We did that today, which is September 15th, 2015. There's two ways you can put the date in. Either you can free type it or click on the calendar and use the calendar to input it. One of the main keys here is the date has to be in this format. So it has to be a 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 4-digit year. So if it was January 1st, it'd be 0101 of 2015. Location is either the host organization or where you did the training. And then hours obviously is the time that you did it. If you're doing half hours, quarter hours, use a decimal system. So a quarter hour would be 15 minutes, so 0.25. Half hour, 30 minutes, be 0.5, and so on as you go through the process. So you can see this training was worth an hour and a half. And all right, we did another training earlier this week. When you hit the add more training, it's going to drop down under your training topic. Make sure you hit the drop down menu there and put in the specific topical area. So I did some documentation training earlier this month. So again, 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 4-digit year. Say I went over and did that at AMR. So again, and it keeps adding. Same thing, airway, patient assessment, trauma, the whole situation. Now, your skills that you're required to do. So for all levels, you have your AED, EMT and above, your self-assisted meds, AEMT, intermediate, paramedic, the additional skills as required for those licensure levels. A skill is a one-for-one process. So if you started an IV, you would document the IV. It would be one successful IV equals 1 hour. If you were in a training situation with a training arm and you started 6 IVs, you could put down the training. So IV, training. The date, we'll say we did that on the 2nd, location, Casper Fire, and I did 6 of those. So again, it is a one-for-one for a skill. Now, the one thing we're going to accept for right now is skills performed on patients where this skill is documented in Waters. So you would put in real patient. Date would be today's date or the date that you're entering. So the location would be documented in Waters, and the number of successful, in this case IVs, since your last documentation. So if you know that you have had, in the past month, you've had 6 successful IVs, instead of having to go in with each one, document each IV independently with a run number. You can just document all of them at one time. The reasoning behind this and the change is that if you were ever audited or there's ever a question, if they're documented in Waters, as long as they're documented correctly, with the procedure being given to you as the provider, I can go in and pull a report out of Waters and see that. Using the run number is a little bit of a holdover from back in the paper days when, to find a documentation of a skill, you had to actually go and pull the specific run report that would have that skill documented. So again, you can see, you can add these in, add your skills in. The total at the bottom will add in skills and topical hours of training. So it adds it all in there and puts it all together. As soon as you've completed this page and documented all the training that you want to, save and continue, bounces you over to the affirmation page in the ability to upload documents. And so once you get in here, and it's just taking a couple minutes because this is actually populating this information in and making it all work. Upload any supporting documentation to verify the documented training hours. So if you have completed a trauma conference, for example, or EMSU, and you get your paper copy of the hours, you can go in, scan them into your computer, take a picture of them, load them onto your computer, hit the add button, and then upload that document. Then under document type, it's going to be continuing education. Then you hit add. It adds it into the training, attached to this training form that you're completing. And once we submit it here and upload it in a second, it'll be part of your permanent record. This statement here is just that you attest that the course information that you have documented is true and accurate. and that you understand that all renewals are subject to a random audit. Our part of our process is that every year we go through and audit, about 10 or so percent. In the past, with the books, we've actually audited on almost 100%. We would look at every book, every EMR form that came in, and check every one of those. Now we're going to use an automated system through Licensure here that's going to do the initial check. Then we're just going to pull about 10% of those out and do a hard check on those. Username and password. Same username and password, you use to log into the system. This is just your verification that you are the one that uploaded it. And then it just says, hey, are you sure you're done? Do you sure you want to submit it? Yes. So then that goes and adds it into your system, puts it into your training record. The next thing we're going to look at is just, so now that you've added your training and put it in, you want to go back in and see where you are. The other advantage of this is you can go in, pull we're going to show you the training report. You can pull that training report and it'll let you get in there before you put your stuff in and see where you need to apply that. The thing to generally remember is most trainings have been set up by the instructor or the coordinator to meet certain objectives. So if they're setting it up, they're going to give you the initial kind of breakdown of what areas it applies to. But remember, you always have that unstructured hours, or you have some of those classes that will cross over and hit 2 categories. So this is a way you can look and see where you need to apply your hours. So you'll hit the training button in the left column, come down underneath there, you'll hit the report there, and it pulls up your report. So you'll see that the training levels associated with the license level of AEMT. Now this is the only thing you're going to need to look at, is look at the date range. The current way that the system works is that the date range begins on whatever your initial certification day it was and populates over to the day that you pulled the report. So you'll need to go through, change that initial date to to January 1st of your certification cycle, and just to double check to make sure that you're not having any problems. As you go down through, you can see each different category, how many hours are required, how many hours you've completed, how many you have remaining. Green obviously means you're done. Red means there's still hours pending, and it'll keep adding on as you go through the process as well. So you'll see here there's your skills. And it'll add those in as well. These are the skills listed underneath each section are examples of what will apply for that. Where this will come into play is once we get Elite Bridge up, we'll be able to just drop these skills straight over from Elite Bridge into the training portion of licensure, and you won't have to put them in manually. But currently, you still got to throw those in manually. Next thing I want to show you is this little button right here, the PDF button. If you click on that PDF button, this will generate you a printable version of your report. So it'll open it up in a new window. It'll show, again, all of your training categories. And then at the end, it shows you what has been entered. So your documentation, don't miss the MI, online licensure, anything that's been put in, and it'll show how many hours it's been inputted for those classes. Also, if you've attended any other trainings that have been inputted by either a service or another organization, it'll show there as well. So back over on our main site, if you hit the button called registrations here, the registrations will show you any courses that you have been signed up for. So if you went and attended one night of a EMT class for continuing education, and the instructor then documented that, it would show you it here in this on this page under my training registrations. So thinking of it as just classes attended, so training classes attended. So same thing there. So that's kind of the basics where we wanted to hit. So feel free to take a look at that, work with it. If you have any problems or you have forms that you enter and then you notice that you need to go back and fix them, just send me an email or call me. We can go ahead and fix those. Otherwise, once you submit them, it's a permanent part of your record. So just kind of remember that. If there's ones that if you are working on, if you have an extra one open and need to get it deleted again, same type of thing. Just let me know. We can get you all taken care of. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me or email me, and we'll make it all work. Thank you guys, and have a great day.